Welcome to Leadership Talk, the official Waymaker podcast, where we explore how your organization can achieve more by doing less. Welcome to Leadership Talk, the official Waymaker podcast. I'm your host, Craig Heineman, as always, and I'm joined by CEO and founder of Waymaker, Stuart Leo, and also COO and founding team member, Robbie Nixon. How are you guys?
Hey, Craig, how's it going?
Hey, Craig. Welcome to the podcast.
that delay was like you guys were on the other side of the world. It's not. You're in the same room.
Yep.
We both looked up to see who was going to go first.
That's it. Robbie, it's good to have you on the podcast. We've actually done a podcast in a previous life together, and you guys explored what the top 10, future trends would be. I'm actually interested to do a bit of a podcast search and have a listen to that again, because you nailed a few, Robbie. You're actually on the money on a couple. Well,
I think we nailed a few.
Yeah. What was your call, though?
I can't remember. It was getting back to core.
Getting back to core. Yep. Well, that was true. So this was Hey, we just need to position the time frame.
Pre-COVID.
So this is pre-COVID. This was January 2020, wasn't it? Yeah. Getting back to core was one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's true. Everybody got back to core.
And space exploration. But I'm not sure there was a time frame on that one.
Space exploration. Yeah. We said that would be a huge trend. I mean, that's happened. What were some of the others? We said volatility
in the marketplace.
I'd call that. That COVID certainly brought volatility to marketplace.
It was the year of the podcast over blogging.
It was, wasn't it? The year of podcast.
Well, and pretty much. And if you look back on 2020, it was when everyone started a podcast because they had nothing else to do. So,
and we're still doing a podcast because we've got nothing else to do.
Robbie's else to do. Robbie's been tapping into his inner Nostradamus.
We should have gone to Ladbrokes.
Yeah, we should have. Today's podcast brought to you by sports betting. I think had we known the future, we might have. I wouldn't have done anything different, actually. It was great.
Oh, it was pretty good. It's worth a listen. Do a search for it. Hey, Stu, we thought we'd do a product update.
Yes.
In this episode, we're 45-ish days into market. We've had great feedback so far from our customers, but we've already made a whole bunch of changes in that time. So a couple of really big ones. So I guess my question is, well, we want to talk about this, but my question is, Stu, why have we made, some big changes in that so early in the launch cycle, and what are they? Yeah.
So, super exciting. Yeah. Circa, I don't even know, I should work out the number of days, somewhere between 45 and 60 days, post-release to first customers, officially. And we have made, we've actually made a whole bunch of changes, but we've made two or three big ones, which we're going to talk about today. Why have we made them?
Great.
Because, strangely enough, we actually practice what we preach. We believe in continuous improvement, and we believe in balancing lean methodologies and market feedback and all those fun and wonderful things. So we've taken a product to market. It's significantly different from what it was in beta testing at the end of 2020. It's significantly different from when we went live at the end of March in 2021. And we're pretty excited today to talk about three big movements, which is one, a much faster, easier to use and better diagnostic. So we found, I think, circa 30 to 50% improvement depending on users, but certainly a massive improvement in speed, which we were already doing something fast with that, and now it's even faster. Number two, we've launched a really cool feature called the confidence score. So we're going to talk about confidence scores. And number three, we launched the Explore dashboard, which I love a bit of data like the next geek, and I geek out. I really do geek out over this one. This is cool. I love the Explore dashboard. One of our team members, Lisa, her comment about the Explore dashboard was, "I hate it because it means I'm accountable." And she's obviously said that jokingly, but it's just a beautiful dashboard. So we're gonna talk about all three of those. And so I literally grabbed Robbie by the collar from the office chair and said, "You've got to sit on in this podcast," because Robbie leads product engineering ops, and has actually made these things happen, literally.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's dive into it then. I mean, we've talked about faster diagnostics in a previous episode, but sort of skimmed over the surface. Do you want to give us a bit more of an in-depth look at what that looks like?
Well, why did we make the change? We made the change because we want to make it easier and faster to get better insights on your business. We have a core value, a core pillar of our business about providing instant insights on your business, whether that be instant insights on growing your business or instant insights on how is my business going. And so the diagnostic is the musher that brings a whole bunch of data in when your team
look that one up.
That's the technical term. And and we did get feedback that it was taking too long to get through it. That's great. That's fair enough. We ask a lot of questions. And I mean, the problem we're solving with the diagnostic is a problem that would normally take a management consultant 3 or 4, 5, 6 weeks, a whole bunch of face-to-face interviews, and maybe 6 to 8 hours in front of their computer writing a smart report. So we're actually doing a whole bunch of work really, really fast with some smart calculations and some smart visualizations. And when we launched, our data was saying somewhere between, on the fast end, sort of 30 to 40 minutes, and on the slow end, we had some users taking up to 45 to 50 minutes. I'm looking at Robbie and he's nodding and looking at me, but I should look at my camera because I'm not used to doing multi-camera in the same room. So the problem was it was just taking too long to get through that. So, Robbie, what did we do?
I just want to chuck a couple of things in there before I go on. There's the customer centricity here. We do take on the feedback from all our customers. And a couple of things that came out of it, as Stuart's touched on, is the speed is a bit clunky, but also the vocabulary that was used throughout the questions. So we've put each of the questions through plain English, which has transformed them much easier to read, digest, and think about. So that's the first improvement, where a user can actually understand the question. Well, not that they couldn't previously, but they can read the question quicker and they can make their decision quicker, and therefore their answer and moving through the diagnostic quicker. One of the things that we say and we encourage is, use your first initial thought, your gut reaction. So just keep moving through it as quickly as possible. A bit like taking a personality test.
And if your gut reaction is, I have no idea what they're talking about, that's going to slow things down.
Well, but even if you do, go 1 or 2 or a 5,
And I think the point there is we want accurate data coming out, so we wanted accurate data coming in. So we had quite technically structured questions, and we've balanced the technical element of the question with the speed to answer, and that's it's an interesting balance. And so we went back and rewrote all those questions quite aggressively and retested some of those questions, and got a different outcome.
Yeah, so we've maintained the structure, the order. We've just reworded the question, so used plain English, so it's easy to understand, or easier. From a technical perspective, the feedback was around the length of time it was taking to go through. We've moved the workflows now into the back end of the system, so rather on click, the workflow capturing data on the server side or on the browser side in front of you. Each time you click your button to go to the next, the data is sent to the back end of the database and queues and then processes without interrupting the user experience. So that saved a huge amount of time. And then simplifying the questions combined, I reckon it's about 55% improvement on the time to take the diagnostic.
That's actually
which is a great result.
That was the technical answer.
Not getting too technical.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So that's a huge improvement, and we've seen even small and as a startup and as we're growing, we're seeing an improvement in people being able to get in and take that much faster as a team.
Yeah,
so,
to add to that as
awesome.
well was you talked, Stuart, about the reduction of time spent in workshops and interviews and running the analysis that way. There's always the element of subjectivity in that, probably the loudest voice or the person further up the hierarchy can sort of maybe push their agenda a little bit with a consultant. Once you're going into the diagnostic, you've got the whole leadership or the whole team taking the diagnostic. So you're removing that subjectivity. So you really are getting more of an objective outcome, which is what you should be doing, what the aim should be, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. Hey, it'd be good to tackle some of these other ones because all of our listeners wouldn't have actually heard about these ones before. So confidence scores. You want to talk about that?
So why did we introduce the confidence score? Well, as I said, the principle at play here is giving team members and leaders instant insights on the performance of their business as much as the opportunities to perform in their business. And so the confidence score was introduced to sit alongside a progress score on an OKR. So we've talked previously about OKRs, objectives and key results, and that's the building block we use around goal management. The confidence score it answers a different question. So the question of how far into this goal is answered by what progress am I achieving on this goal? And progress is calculated by rolling up the progress on the key results. So 3 key results, one at 10%, one at 20%, one at 25%, and the average is going to be I should have used different numbers. Yeah, the average of those 3 numbers. And that'll be the average progress on that objective, and that rolls up to show a progress score. So that tells the observer, both the owner of the objective and those around them, that they're X% into achieving this goal. But it doesn't tell the observer, is this goal going to happen? And is this goal going to happen is picked up in a confidence score. And so the confidence score is actually not driven by key results. In this version of the confidence score, it's driven by the user giving a confidence input. And we've laid the framework to start to add to that in the future. So in the future, we'll talk about how it can be influenced by other activities they're performing. So not just so to get to the point, the confidence score is about the owner of the objective saying, my confidence in this goal being achieved is X, and we mark that as a 0 to 1. So that's important because the progress could be low or high, and the progress could be different. I could have the confidence could be different. The progress could be, say, 70%, but my confidence could actually plummet and go back down to 20%. Something could change. And so as you're looking at, will we achieve our goals this quarter, the progress on the objective tells us how far into the objective we are. The confidence tells us, are we going to get there? And really it's an equally important metric, helping the team understand, do we need to change direction? Do we need to adjust? Do we need to adapt? Do we need to get behind somebody? So this is data and information coming to users and leaders' fingertips to affect daily changes in behaviours and activities. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I guess for clarity, are these a different set of questions that are asked by the asked of the project manager, or is this calculated from data that's already been?
No. So just to give listeners context, when you're managing your objective and key result, so you've set up your goals for the quarter, and you've said, okay, here are my 3 goals, and they're structured as OKRs. As you're updating your progress or your movement through those goals, say it's week 2 and you're now at 20% into the goal, then your rolled up progress score is going to be 20%. But you have an opportunity at any time to update the confidence of delivery, and
Sure.
that will happen whenever you want to update that goal. And we'd recommend, best practice recommendation is that you're updating your key results on demand. So if you move a key result forward, say you achieve an outcome that day, or then you would increase that key results percentage improvement, which is going to roll up and increase the objectives improvement. But our best practice recommendation is that every week you stop and you review OKRs and you look at your current status. And in that moment, we would recommend thinking about the confidence. So at that moment, we would say, okay, how confident are you that this goal will be delivered? And then we ask you to rank that. And that feeds up. That feeds up to be able to say, gosh, we've now got confidence on a goal, and we've got a confidence across the business of what our people are thinking and feeling and knowing. Are we going to get there?
Mm-hmm. And would you imagine, just out of experience, that is going to kind of usually start high because everyone's like super excited? It's going to have a dip, and then it's going to peak right at the end, or do you kind of imagine that that's kind of going to be a common trend, or have you not experienced that?
Early days, yeah.
Is there a perfect curve? Is there a perfect curve? Is what I guess my question.
I would say the perfect curve is the job gets done, but yeah,
just 100. It's a straight line at the top,
Robbie,
right?
You should take this.
I'm feeling that most people would start around the 50% or maybe 70%, sort of the upper end of that curve. And then I guess depending on outcomes, I think the best example or the clearest example I've heard of this is a marketing business that's trying to secure 100 leads in the quarter. And within month 1, they've already got 50. So they're 50% through in progress, looking good. They're going to achieve the result. However, they've got no more channels. They can't see how they're going to get any more leads with the resources at hand. So they flag the confidence as a 5 or a 3, and then therefore the manager, the team around them can see, this person needs a hand. What can we do to help them?
Yeah, that's a good example. Life changes during the quarter, and progress doesn't necessarily equal outcome. It's just progress. It's just how far we're going. So whereas confidence is a far more direct line feedback of the individual going, I am or am not confident that this goal will be delivered. And so it's helpful. It's a lot more helpful in the decision-making process. So I think to add to that example that Robbie gave, the confidence can also surface the issue of perhaps this objective is no longer relevant. So, let's say we get to 70% of an objective delivered, and we're halfway through month 2, and if we throw that confidence to delivery back down to 0, well, that's going to quickly flag there's a problem, which is going to drive a conversation, and that conversation could also be around, well, actually, we've now learned something 6 weeks later. This goal is no longer relevant, and that's a good thing, because if the goal is no longer relevant, change it or bin it, but don't leave it there as a performance outcome with an expectation that you've had a good quarter by getting 70% of the way through that goal. So So I think we talk about a practice of a cycle of performance of continuous improvement quarter by quarter, but just because the cycle runs on quarter by quarter doesn't mean your decision making is quarter by quarter. And confidence scores allow you to work daily, weekly, and adapt to changing environments, and bring some of that insight and surface it up.
It seems to me to be measuring both the objective measurement of the outcomes and the subjective of how am I feeling about that.
Correct.
Is that? Yep. Okay.
Yeah, and trying to drive collaboration. One of the big parts of the platform is trying to create alignment and cohesion within a business. So everyone's working on the things that matter, right? When everyone in the business is working on the same thing or towards the same thing, towards the same goals, you're going to get improvement, and it's going to come quickly. So if someone in the team has got a low confidence, they need a hand. It's a great way of visually within the team being able to see, this person needs a hand. Let's go and see what it is. How can we help? How can we make sure that everyone's successful in achieving? Or to the other point that Stuart's just made, is it relevant? Has something else taken priority, and why? So it's always driving a conversation around how we can keep moving forward towards the goals that have been set.
Yep. We talk in some of our training materials on Waymaker Academy around the best practice meetings and the best practice collaborations, and one of those is the weekly or fortnightly team or leadership meeting, where we talk about surfacing roadblocks. And the best teams don't talk about what they've done or what they're going to do. They spend time together solving the problems that help the individual team members go out and do. So they're good problem solvers. And that's a big insight right there. But surfacing those roadblocks is really important. And so the confidence score is one way of surfacing a roadblock rapidly. So we would expect, and we're seeing, confidence scores moving up and moving down on a weekly or fortnightly basis based on the roadblocks that you might hit as you're working on a goal. Because one of those other best practices we talk about is set a goal, but it should stretch you 20, 30, 40%. If it's easy to do, it's not a good goal. It's a task. Set a goal, and that means you're entering into the quarter with a level of unknown. There's an element of mystery to this quarter. We know where we're going. We know what needs to be done, but do we know exactly how to do it? No. And that's part of the mystery, and that's part of the tension that actually pulls the business, the organisation forward by solving some of that mystery. So really what you're setting yourself up for is to go, in the next 12 weeks, we're going to solve problems. We have to be good problem solvers. And if we're not solving problems, we're probably not moving as far forward as we could be moving, because life's too easy. And we all know that if you go to the gym and you lift weights and you don't break a sweat and it's really easy, well, you walk out a fat man, not a strong man. So I know that. So, if you're not lifting those weights in that weekly or fortnightly leadership meeting, you're not pushing hard enough. So we found the introduction of the confidence score, one of those continuous improvement elements to surface roadblocks and issues quickly and easily in a positive way. One of the elements of culture that needs to be broken down when you move on to Waymaker is it's a good thing to raise your hand and go, I'm stuck. It's a really healthy thing to go, roadblock, I'm not making progress on my goal, which in traditional management and a lot of that old world 20th century style of management, that's unhealthy. That's people see that as unhealthy. And we want to break that and go, no, that's actually healthy. Get some spotters around you, get some people around you, go, here's a real roadblock. How do we solve this problem together? Let's spend some time on that. Boom, problem solved, mystery revealed, move on for the next week or two. And hopefully, confidence scores are a way of surfacing those roadblocks quickly, simply, easily, without emotion.
That's awesome. Okay, so we've talked about faster diagnostics. We've introduced confidence scores, and the last thing that we wanted to talk about on this episode was the release of the Explore dashboard, which Lisa hates but loves at the same time.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Explore dashboard.
Well, what is it to start with? Robbie, what is it?
It's a dashboard.
Thanks, mate. Yeah.
It's
experts
really
in our
good
field,
tool
ladies and gentlemen.
to visualize or gain the insights that we've just been talking about. We can drill down into OKRs across the business, by team, by business unit, by owner, even by function from the diagnostic style, the function of business. So that in itself is really powerful. So to lead a meeting using the Explore dashboard, you're able to quickly drill down to the team's data and to a user's, and bless you, the headline of the dashboard will show that person, that team's progress, confidence, and then there's number scores around averages, key results to objectives, updates to objectives and such. But we split it out between charts and a list view of the actual objectives. So while you get a roll-up aggregate from the charts, you can then see each individual objective and key result listed beneath it. So you can quickly understand where the roadblocks could be, what's going well, what needs addressing. So from a manager's point of view, running the team check-in using Explore, they've got all the data to hand and can quickly make their decisions on what needs to be raised and what doesn't need to be raised as they're working through a quick meeting. Yeah,
I mean, I'll tell you how we use it. That might be practical. When we sit down for a leadership team meeting, we start off with sort of the usual 5 to 10 minutes of around the table of good news and what's working well and what's happening out there. And then we jump into what's on our goals for the quarter. But specifically what we're doing, and this is where we introduce the Explore dashboard, we look at those goals and we flag roadblocks. So it's really easy to, in a meeting, change the filter set from, say, in progress with Robbie or in progress with Lisa or in progress with Stuart or whoever. And the agenda is really surfaced by drilling into the Explore dashboard. And so we're looking at data. We're seeing that data on the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 goals that are across the team. We're able to actually see things like confidence scores, things like progress, and we're able to actually have a simple conversation of, well, do you have any roadblocks? Yes, no. If yes, let's talk about them. Where are they? And so from a team perspective, and you know, I mentioned before that Lisa hates it, you're always accountable to the goals that you've set because they're in your face on a weekly basis. And that's a good thing because as a team, we're actually helping each other achieve our goals. And so the Explore dashboard works at every level of the organisation. It doesn't matter whether you're in an exec team or in a frontline service team or sales team. And so it's a way of, in 1 to 5 clicks, drilling into any area of the team, current, past, or planned goals, in order to figure out where you're at. So it's massively powerful. We actually love it internally, and early indications is we're starting to see some love come back from customers on it. So we're really proud of this one.
That's awesome. And what are some of the things that you're seeing that you weren't expecting to see? How has it identified some things in your business that you weren't actually that maybe surprises? Do you know
on the Explore dashboard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like for example, like you would get a much better understanding of alignment based on the data that you're seeing there, which is a little less tangible, but
yeah, I mean, for me, the simplicity of running a team meeting has been a benefit that's come out. We have a rolling agenda, a standard agenda. Robbie might be laughing because he sits in some of these and has to participate. But I think for
my
me,
insight is that Stuart just does not update his OKRs very regularly.
Actually, I must fess up. We started today's and said, all right, everybody stop. Take the first 5 to 10 minutes and everybody update your OKRs so we can have a productive conversation. That's not a bad thing to do. You know, I'd encourage other people to do that. You've got to stop. You've got to look at where you're at and what you're focused on. And if you're running at 110% during the week, when you come together, you want to make sure that you're looking at accurate information. So it's actually really easy to stop. And for 5 minutes, whether you do it beforehand or at the start of the meeting, doesn't matter. Stop, review your goals, update them, update your key results, update your confidence, mark any notes up so that it's ready for a robust conversation. And that's a healthy thing to do because everybody is then, wherever they are, looking at the same data, the same information, and you can have a productive conversation. So I think that simplicity of running a meeting for me was a nice surprise. That's probably why I think we love it and we use it so much. Robbie, any surprises from your end on Confidence or Explore?
Not so much surprises. I think that's going to come into its own sort of down the road with some of the plans that we've got for the use of that data. I think if we can give our listeners a small window into the future is setting up some notifications around days and times of check-ins. So they're not coming to meetings unprepared. They're getting the reminder to get it done before they get into their meeting, which I think is going to be a nice...
shots fired. I'm so glad I'm not in the room right now.
I'm going home after this.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good point, actually. One of the analogies that we often use is Waymaker is a bit like a smartwatch. You know, it's listening and helping. It's not judging. And so as the data set's growing and as we're building more and more smarts into that, we're looking for ways to help individuals remember simple things. Just remember that, I've got a one-on-one with my boss tomorrow. Do you need to update these 3 key results? Or you haven't updated these ones for 2 weeks. Is it time to review them? Or simple things. And so, Robbie's giving a window into the future, and over some of our future podcasts, we'll definitely talk about how well those things are rolling out.
That's awesome. And I think that your little example before of just taking 10, 15 minutes to update those it highlights actually how quickly you can do that. It's not going to take up all of your day to input the data that you need.
Correct.
On a regular basis. So, it doesn't chew into your, productivity hours.
Yeah. And I mean, great meetings are where you come with problems and walk out with answers and solutions. Meetings suck when you talk and it's a talk fest about what you've done or what you think you're going to do. And that, I've sat in those meetings. I've been guilty as charged on running meetings like that in the past. And really, we need to blow those meetings up. They're a waste of time. And great meetings solve problems and they remove roadblocks. And great leaders remove roadblocks for their team members. And so that starts in your weekly one-on-ones or your weekly team meetings where you change the conversation. And we're seeing our technology change that conversation, and that's a healthy thing. When people's behaviors are changed for the better, and it helps you be a better leader or a better team member, then we get excited. We get to geek out over that kind of tech.
That's epic. There's 3 more excellent reasons to jump on Waymaker.io and sign up for a free trial. Faster diagnostics, confidence scores, the Explore dashboard. We're holding each other accountable. You guys have obviously got some stuff to talk about when we sign off. No, just joking. This is actually excellent, and I think this is a great opportunity for people that are just trying to get their head around whether or not they want to jump on board to go in and explore some of these things, because it's going to drastically simplify the way that you do business.
Yeah.
Robbie, thanks for joining us today, mate.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. Always good to have you, Stu. And we're going to talk more. This won't be the last time when we get together and talk about how to achieve more by doing less.